Okay, so after watching all of those videos, all 5 of them, they were, 1, really interesting, and 2, they really had me process a lot of, I think, emotions, and just like feelings toward an inclusive classroom. I'm not against having an inclusive classroom at all. But I am a little fearful. I had an experience fall semester being in a classroom that was a general education classroom, but there was a student with, he wasn't a high functioning, he had autism. He really couldn't do a lot. And I just remember feeling, 1, like useless, like I didn't know how to deal with like his needs and stuff, and 2, I could really tell that the teacher, his teacher, my MT, didn't know what to do with him. He had an aide who took him. A lot of the times he'd get very aggressive, and she had to deal with that. So it was just interesting to be in that classroom to see that. But my fear of just not being able to know what to do with that, like those types of students, they are gonna be my students, like you said in our little excerpt. Like I'm gonna have students who come in who are gonna have disabilities. I'm just fearful of how I'm gonna deal with how am I going to make curriculum and the classroom and the students inclusive to that student. Like if I have a student who had the disease that Isaac had in that video, to be honest, I have no idea. I have no idea how I'll be able to, make that inclusive in the classroom. It's been done, but like that was a private school. What if I get a student like that in a public school setting? I don't know how I'm going to be able to include that student in my curriculum, in my classroom. I want to, but I'm scared. I'm scared that like I won't know what to do, and that like I'll let that student down. And I don't want to let a student down. Like every student matters, right? Like every student matters. So like a student with cerebral palsy or autism or I don't know, like ADHD, stuff like that. Like if they had like their disability, that doesn't define them in who they are in their academic rigor. That doesn't. But they do have like things that they have to meet, and those should probably be put in the IEP. And I'm just scared that if I get a student like that, will I be able to make sure that they meet their academic standards? Because there was a student in the last video that I watched named Axel who was 11, and he had severe autism, and he couldn't meet those requirements. Like they didn't put academic requirements in his IEP, but he needed those, so the school decided to fit them. And I'm just scared, what if that is pushing a student too far? How far can you push like I don't want to push a student who's in an inclusive classroom too far where they can't do it. Like I want to make sure that like my classroom is an open environment where I can have students who come in who have disabilities. But I just have this fear of like I won't be able to. And I know that sounds horrible, but it's just true. And like I was in a classroom fall semester where I had a student who had severe autism, like I said, and the teacher didn't even meet the needs of the student. And then I would walk across the hall, and there was a student who had cerebral palsy, and their needs were getting met, and he was in the classroom for a set amount of time and then taken out and then coming back in. And I just have a fear of, like, I won't be able to meet the needs that they need. And I have a fear of not working hand in hand with the parents, and I don't want to rule the parents and what the parents want put in place for their child, because that's important. Like, you're a parent who has a daughter who has a disability, you know, and your needs for her needs in your eye is more important than my, like, the needs that she needs to meet for me, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's just like my overlying fears, but I do think it is important everybody belongs in a classroom where they feel loved and they feel accepted, but ultimately that they can learn. So I don't want to push a student so far that they can't reach something that maybe they could. So yeah, thanks for letting me just share this out, and I really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you.